Hey guys, it's Penny Pinching Granny, and welcome back to my channel. I want to thank you for all your prayers, all your comments, and all the mail. Now, the ones that have addresses or email addresses, I am answering those. The ones that don't, I'm showing so that you know that I got them. This one is from Nashville, Tennessee. It didn't have a return address, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. I thought we'd talk about drive-ins. Remember drive-ins? They kind of disappeared. Last reading I did on drive-ins was they were only about 300 left. Drive-ins have always been a big part of my life. I can remember back when I was 4 or 5 years old, Grandma and Grandpa would take me to the drive-in, and it was hard for them to scrape the money together because they didn't have much money. I think it was 50 cents a carload back then. I'm not exactly sure. But I would be all excited when we were going to the drive-in because I knew I'd get to see several cartoons. Usually I fell asleep after that anyway. But we would get ready, and Grandma had like gallon-sized pickle jars, and she would put well water in there because we had a well. And we would take our own snacks because Grandpa wasn't about to buy snacks. I mean, they didn't have any money. He was doing good to take us to the drive-in. But we'd get out, and Grandpa had his old black Buick. And for some reason, when we would start to go somewhere, we had a billy goat. Open that back door, that billy goat right in that back seat. And it would take both of them 20, 30 minutes trying to get the goat out the seat so we could go. So they'd finally get the goat out, and I'd get in, and we'd be on our way. We'd get there and get situated at the drive-in, get the speaker in the window. I'd be excited because those cartoons, when Grandpa didn't like cartoons, he wanted to get on to the movie. It was probably a Western because, like I said, I don't remember because I'd usually fall asleep after the cartoons. I just remember the cartoons and the advertisements for popcorn and stuff. Grandpa was the type, once you got there, you didn't get out of the car. There was no reason for you to get out of the car. You had water, you had snacks. The movie's right in front of you, stay in the car. Well, I was little, and I'd have to go potty. Grandpa was like, nope, what do you got to do? Well, he had a solution if it was just number one. Now, if you had to do other, then yes, you would have to got out of the car. But that old Buick, behind the driver's seat, under the floor mat, was a rusted out hole. And if you had to do number one, he would say, you pull that floor mat back and you squat over the hole. We had our bathroom on the go. But that was just Grandpa for you. Nope, you got no reason to get out of the car. You got everything you need right here. And then as I got older, my dad's second wife, I can remember going to see Ben-Hur. And I can remember the chariot races and all across the big screen. And that was exciting. And then, of course, as I got to be a teenager, we would get a group together and we'd go to the drive-in. I think it was $1 a carload then. It never did go up very much. I think it was $1 a carload then. And then, of course, when we started dating, we would go. And we would even go in the wintertime. I've been to the drive-in when there's been snow on the ground. Back then, you could get a heater. It was about the same size as the speaker that you put in the car. And you would go to the concession stand, leave your driver's license, get the heater, and then when you got through, you take the heater back, get your driver's license. And at that point in time, they were showing movies. They would have marathons where they'd show movies all night, like Clint Eastwood, John Wayne. I can't think of any more right off. I just mainly remember Clint Eastwood because he was so cute back then. But we would go watch the movies as long as we wanted to. And usually we'd wind up falling asleep and then we'd wake up and go home. And then the night before I got married, we went to the drive-in. My ex-husband and I, we went to the drive-in the night before we got married. And we had to take my little brother with us. Mom said, nope, you got to take him too. We went to see Gone with the Wind. It was the first time I'd ever seen Gone with the Wind. So we went to see Gone with the Wind the night before we got married with my little brother in tow. And then later on, as a family, we started having children. We would take them to the drive-in. I can remember when my oldest one was 1 or 2 years old, my sister-in-law and I wanted to go take my child and hers to the drive-in that night. Of course, the kids would go to sleep because they were little. But we didn't have any money. So my mother-in-law had a field of okra. So we went to the store on the corner and said, if we pick a bushel of okra, will you buy it? And back then, I think it was like $8 for a bushel. And it was a couple of dollars to get in, so we knew we'd have gas money and money to get in and money to buy a snack. So we went back, picked the okra, washed up, sold the okra, and went to the drive-in. And then later on, I had 3 children, and my ex-husband and I, we would take them to the movie because it was still $2 a carload, so we'd put them in the pajamas, and we'd take some snacks, and of course they would fall asleep usually after the first movie because usually they showed 2 movies. And we would put a mosquito coil because in the summertime mosquitoes are bad. We put a mosquito coil. I think they still sell them. They little round coils. They were green, and they were called Pic, and you lit them sort of like incense, like you light incense and it smokes. Well, that's what these did, and the smoke cleared the mosquitoes away. So we would do that. Now later on, after I got divorced, we still had our drive-in, and it was still $2. And a friend and I had went and picked greens that day. So we decided we'd go home and get cleaned up, and we'd go to the theater, or the drive-in rather. We'd go to the drive-in. So we had cleaned up and we got the greens in the house, got cleaned up, and then we got to the drive-in, and of course we went and got popcorn and a drink. And I'm sitting there about halfway through my bucket of popcorn, and I really love movie popcorn. And I'm sitting there eating, and I go crunch. And I'm like, I said, I don't know what that is, bad kernel or what. I said, oh my gosh, it tastes nasty. And I'm like, ugh. I said, turn the light on, let's see what I bit into. I had bit a stink bug in half. You talking about nasty? Oh my gosh. I rinsed my mouth and rinsed my mouth and rinsed my mouth. He must have been on the greens that we had in the car, and he decided he would stay when we carried the greens in. But oh, that was a nasty taste. I couldn't finish out my popcorn. It was like just constantly rinsing my mouth trying to get that taste out. It was like, ooh. But then after that, I don't think I went to the drive-in anymore after that, because it wasn't too long after that our drive-in closed in our town. And I can remember I actually cried because that was a part of history that I had grown up with. And it was just gone, it's gone. But I do miss it. That's when families got together and could go have cheap entertainment. But anyway, I hope you still have a drive-in nearby. Now, we do have free movies in a town that's 30 miles north of me. They show movies in the summertime at the mall. Somebody brings a projector, and I think they bring the screen too, and you can pull up in your car and actually sit there and watch a movie. I mean, they're old movies, like The Graduate and that type, old movies. But it's still free, and you can pull up in the car, so it gives you the feel of being at a drive-in. All right, guys. I just, for some reason, started thinking about drive-ins, so I thought I would share. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and thank you again so much. And give this a thumbs up, and I'd like to hear your stories about going to the drive-in. This is Penny Pinchot and Granny. Bye-bye.